Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the weekend update from the Water Tower. I'm Malia Jaffrani.
And I am Armstrong, and this is our April Fool's edition.
First and foremost, UVM's new President Trump already awarded herself the role of UVM's new headache. Having written books on the Victorian era seances and the Titanic, she seemed pretty chill, but now we're kind of worried because she reportedly called the cops on pro-Palestinian students at BSU and replaced roof gargoyles with possible snipers. Great. In a competition between Trump versus Trump, who would win?
The scarier one, for sure.
In other news, Trump wants Uranus. Yes, you heard that right. After being denied the ability to buy Greenland, he wants Uranus. A perfect 8.1 billion circular kilometers in super blue. A perfect place for him to set up a new ice-themed golf course.
Texas is having a major catfight with a measles outbreak that's infected at least 520 residents. But of course, Health and Human Services Secretary RFK Jr. has a plan to make measles deaths so common they'll barely even raise an eyebrow anymore. Kennedy stated, "When President Trump appointed me, I promised to desensitize the American public to preventable deaths. My goal is to make the measles just as unremarkable as crappy Wi-Fi connections in the Howe Library." The outbreak is Texas' largest in 30 years. We're witnessing the groundwork for a future where people won't even flinch at hearing about preventable deaths. Soon it'll just be another headline you'll doom scroll past on TikTok at 2 a.m. Kennedy also added, "The outbreak has been under surveillance since January, but like normal, Americans just don't seem to care. Soon you'll hear someone got measles and just shrug, saying, well, that's 2025 for you. Maybe 2026 will be your year." He also went on to say, "One day measles deaths will be so ordinary, so normal, that no one will even care if he dies from it too." Yeah, don't worry about it, RFK. We won't even bat an eye at your death.
More government news. A new executive order was signed to shut down the Department of Education. In a desperate attempt to get the country's attention, officials resorted to holding up the quiet coyote signal. Even though, let's be honest, no one has ever really respected it, which is pretty unfortunate. It works here at the Water Tower with a bunch of college students, so why wouldn't it work with a bunch of old white men? Maybe because it looks like a uterus? "America, we need you to listen to us," a spokesperson said while frantically wiggling their fingers like a preschool teacher in front of the classroom. "If you keep ignoring us, we'll have no choice but to turn off the lights." But instead of turning off the lights, they decided to dismantle the entire Department of Education. Don't worry though, it's a good thing that they didn't overreact. They gave it 5 big booms and it all went bye-bye. We were told that recess is officially canceled, and instead students will be slapped with a Sisyphean amount of debt.
A brand new Trump executive order states that the moon is flat, just like the Earth. How do they know this? We don't know for sure. Apparently it's due to Elon Musk taking shrooms and thinking he's the second coming of Aristotle. The order states that the moon is a flat disk orbiting around the Earth in a broadly circular motion and some other physics. Honestly, I don't really know, nor do I care. The executive order endorses this flat moon theory in all schools and bans all books saying otherwise. Straight from the Vatican, after 5 weeks in the hospital, the Pope has survived his recent health scare of bacterial, fungal, and viral bronchial pneumonia in both lungs and still seems to be kicking it. He woke up one morning to have coffee, or as the Catholic Church calls it, a divine miracle, because if God is real, the first person he would help is the Pope. That's right, folks. Pope Francis is still going strong, proving at the age of 88 you can defy expectations, just like Taylor Swift's tour merch prices. Meanwhile, tariffs are back, which means Americans will now be paying even more for imported goods. Even our printed papers are becoming more expensive. Because, as we all know, nothing fixes an economy quite like making everything more expensive. America's new motto should be inflation. I hardly know him. And in housing news, Burlington, Vermont has been named one of the worst cities for affordable rent in the United States, which makes sense because if you're an upperclassman UVM student, you're probably paying $2,000 for an apartment with floors slanted at a 30-degree angle, you have an attic with no windows, and a landlord that only responds to your maintenance requests and riddles. Speaking of which, the University of Maryland has announced that its commencement speaker is Kermit the Frog. UVM, take notes.
Not only are we graduating in the muddy Essex Fairgrounds and do not have a commencement speaker, instead we have Trump that loves Trump and looks like Randall from Monsters, Inc. And we were given a pamphlet that just says to bring cowboy boots and a lasso.
And finally, a recent survey reports that if the body of Christ wafers at church tasted like cheez-its, more people would go to church. That's it.
Now we have our special guest, who has had an incredible year. She has won 2 Grammy Awards and is about to kick off her massive short and sweet North America tour and teasing a new song. Somehow avoiding to get into a single scandal this year, please welcome Sabrina Carpenter.
Sabrina, welcome back to SNL. Thanks for coming. So we heard that you're about to embark on your largest North American tour yet. How's that going?
Oh, I'm super excited. I've been rehearsing nonstop, adding to the set list, and practicing new and improved judo poses. And I'm just generally trying not to trip over my own feet on stage. It's gonna be super sweet.
So relatable.
So you've been teasing some new music, and we hear you might have a new song about Michael Cera.
Maybe. Hypothetically, I mean, if one were to write a song about Michael Cera, it would probably be about how he's awkward, endearing, and somehow makes you rethink your whole romantic history.
So to put it in UVM terms, it's an anthem for every girl who's fallen for a shy, mustachioed man pretending to read all about love by bell hooks.
Exactly. I wrote it for all of you.
Well, we can't wait to hear it. To wrap things up, do you have any final words to tell us viewers watching?
Whoa, whoa.
Oh, girl, you just shat in the mother toilet.
Okay, great. Thanks, Sabrina. And that concludes our weekend update. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.